Welcome to this podcast. This is a podcast format. I'm not calling it a simple webinar. It's a podcast where we'll have a dialogue between Balu and Dr. Shan. So I think most of the people that I see in the audience, you already heard Dr. Shan. He's talked about several topics, health related, Marma related, and somewhat Ayurveda related. So very, very deep information that he has given us. I tell you, I've forgotten some of it. So it's always good to refresh our memories. So Balu is going to start this podcast, ask Dr. Shan questions. And Balu, you open up the forum for others as well later on. So the audience can also ask questions, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So please keep your questions prepared so you'll have a chance to ask them as well. So with this, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta ji, and thank you, Dr. Shan, for kind of giving me this opportunity to ask these questions, because this is very important, not just for myself, but also people who have crossed difficult paths in their life and are still going through a lot of troubles in their lives in terms of either health issues or other financial or mental issues, etc., etc. So I want to, before I go into the Q&A, I really wanted to share some background, and so people actually get the context of the discussion and why I came forward to even doing this, Dr. Shan, right? So this is a story that I haven't shared with anybody so far. Probably my close circle knows about it, and then probably Dr. Shan and probably Gupta ji I spoke to a couple of times. I haven't shared it broadly to the external world, but I think now the time has come, because I feel much more confident and clearer as to why I should share this and what is my path and purpose. So this is a very personal story, and you are probably the first people outside of the close circle that's hearing this. The story that I have been very reluctant to share, but I think I'm ready to share right now. So, and this is not to prove that I have done it all, but to show that if I can do it, you can also do it. So that's the whole purpose of this conversation. I'm 43 years old right now. I have a very successful career. I have a great family. My kids are amazing. My friends are great. I live in a beautiful town in Jacksonville, in Florida. Two young children. And we recently moved to Florida, like back 2 years back. Before that, we were in New Jersey. I had just turned 40 at that time, and in January of 2023, I went to a doctor for some throat issues, and I was having some bleeding or something like that, and they found a tumor in my throat. So the tumor was malignant, and they immediately suggested I had to go for surgery. And because it was cancerous, and I have no idea what to do about this. This is the first time, and I'm like 40 years old. I have two young children and a family to take care of, and all of a sudden this came out of nowhere. So it was a pretty shocking event in my life event in my whole 40 years of life. I did not know how to handle it. I was in fear. I was having all sorts of imaginations, how this would turn up, and what I would do if something bad happens, what happens to my family, etc., etc., etc. So I think fear was making it worse. So the first person I reached out to was Dr. Shan, because I know Dr. Shan for more than 10 years at that point, and he has been kind of helping me with a lot of meditation techniques, and I've attended some of his retreats. I was actually, in fact, I had a very good lifestyle in terms of, food, and I was vegetarian all my life. I never had junk food, no processed food. I was meditating. I'm a master in Sky, so I've been meditating for years now. So the shock was not accepting the fact that, how could this happen to me, right? I'm checking all the boxes, and still it happened. And then I called Dr. Shan, and the first thing he said was, "Why are you in fear? Like, what is causing this fear?" I said, "Well, what if I die and nobody's there to take care of my family and kids? That's my only fear." But he said, "You do not know that. I mean, why? That is your imagination that you might die. So you are alive and you are still there. So whatever you're creating is not true. That's just imagination, and that is making it even worse. Things might turn out completely differently." So then I said, okay, that kind of struck me as to, okay, so there is no need to fear, because things might turn in my favor, so I shouldn't be worried about this, right? So then my next question is, okay, so what do I do about it? Okay, now I'm not in fear. Okay, at least I can make myself, I can convince myself that I don't have to fear about this. What should I do, master? Right? And okay, so then he said, let's find out the root cause. Like, what are the things that would have caused this, and correct each and every step of that. So his concept is that, things doesn't happen because of one reason. There might be multiple things that might be contributing to this problem. So we need to kind of address and each of these root causes. And the only person who knows those root causes is me, because I am the one who kind of is dealing with the situation, and it's my consciousness can only tell what kind of caused it. So I have to kind of find this out by myself. So, but he gave me the technologies and tools to do that. He's traveled with me all through my healing process. I went through surgery, and after surgery, they said, you have to go for radiation and chemo. And I was not ready to do that, because in discussions with Dr. Shan, the way I understood this was, no, don't create any further damage, right? You caused something. There was something that came to you which was not probably directly under your control, maybe not under your conscious control, but now you're consciously making another further damage to the system, which you should probably avoid. Something told me that, and Dr. Shan's thought process also kind of influenced me in that aspect. And I decided not to go for any further intrusive treatments. And the scans came back clean after 4 months. I was all happy, everything is great, but I still had the fear. Okay, what if this might come back? It came back it came once, and why can't it come back again? So probably that fear caused it, and it came back again after a few months. But this time I was not in fear, because if I can do it once, I can do it again, right? So I doubled down on the efforts. So my family was in fear, because he did not follow the process. He kind of defied all the oncologists and all these great doctors, and he did something on his own, and now it's not working, which means that he's going in a in a rabbit hole here, right? So at that point I was very strong, meaning like my willpower, and of course Dr. Shan being like always there for me. I call him like probably 10 times a day. He would make time for me, pick up my calls, because he knows that I'm suffering, and he wanted he was so he was graceful, to help me out at that moment. He picked up all my calls, kept on, kept my energy levels high, never let me down. We did like 3 or 4 meditations per day, exercises, and, kind of took me out of that whole, thought process that there is a problem. So the more I moved away from the problem, I was actually getting solutions for it, like, random solutions. Random people turned out in my life, giving me, okay, this might work. I found a doctor who's in a remote area in Nevada, and I actually traveled all the way, flew all the way there, and I took all my lamps and mirrors and all those things to meditate. In Nevada, it was cold, like a January, December, January timeframe, and I was getting a very mild treatment, like not even 10% of what they would offer in a traditional full blown chemo and chemotherapy. So I went for that, and within 3 weeks it's gone. I still believe that it is not just because of the 10% that I took, but the 10% on top of whatever I was doing with terms of biomagnetic enhancements and all the things that Dr. Shan has taught me. And I was good. I was healed in three weeks, and doctors here are surprised. How did it even happen? Like magically? Yeah, I said, yeah, I did something very small thing, and it worked out. So I don't want any further treatments. And then again, I continued my path. I was again, as humans, we always tend to go back to our old habits, and I did too. Some of my habits not kind of completely correct itself, so I had to go back to my previous lifestyle a little bit. And you know what? It came back after a few months, after not a few months, after probably like 6-7 months. And there are things which actually I physically contributed to that by doing some other fixes, like I was fixing my tooth, and that it caused something else in my throat, etc., etc. So long story short, even though it came back, now it came back not in the same intensity as it was before. So I can see that there was a pattern. The pattern was, it was kind of, dwindling down, or, the intensity of the issue was itself not that great. So even if I was able to cure a high intensity problem, when the intensity is pretty less, I was like, oh, this is like a cakewalk for me. This is nothing for me, right? So I could do it more. So at that point, I did not even call Dr. Shaw this time. So I'm my own healer. He created the healing energy in me. So I don't think I didn't need constant consultation or not attention from him, because at that point my own consciousness kicked in, and it was giving me all the knowledge that I need to heal myself. And I think once I met Dr. Shan in person, and my wife was very afraid, very very scared, and she was crying and all those things, and I was like, okay, I was like a cool guy, as if nothing, as if she's crying, worrying about somebody else, and not me. And Dr. Sean said, I think he's all healed. I think you need the healing, because you are in constant fear. So you probably need to meditate. He's already on the right path. He doesn't need any support. So that kind of boosted my energy levels too. Wow. So okay, so he acknowledged that, he himself acknowledged that I'm in a good shape. So um, and then this year, again, I had a few treatments here and there, but I'm very happy to say that after all this 3 years of ups and downs, I think mostly it's all towards the upward direction. I got a very clean skin, the clean scan, the cleanest of all these in all these 3 years, 3 weeks ago, and I was declared no evidence of disease. So this is the first time ever I actually got that outcome, and that is not just because of the medicines I took. I can confidently say that it is all because of all the other things that I did beyond the physical medicines. I was not focused on healing just the physical body. I was very focused on healing the energy. I think a lot of people should believe this. This is not pseudoscience. This is not some voodoo magic. This is the truth. This is the real truth. I think whatever we are doing in terms of the 3D reality, fixing our physical body through medicines, chemo, all those stuff is all pseudoscience. This is the true science. I think the people who really went through this, experience this, only can speak to it. Those who believe it, it exists. And for those who do not believe, it doesn't exist. So I would strongly recommend that you believe this. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with Dr. Sean. So the same questions I asked Dr. Sean throughout the 3-year journey, I want you also to hear the answers from him. So I'm going to ask these questions to Dr. Sean. And I know that some of these answers are redundant to me, but I will also be refreshing my own memory by hearing these answers. I'm pretty sure there are new perspectives. Please also join this interview. I'm not the only interviewer here. Please post your questions, and we'll towards the end of the conversation, we'll have cover some of your questions also. All right. Any questions for me before we move on to the interview?
There's some comments for you. You can thank people for.
Oh, well, thank you. I just saw that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the great comments. Yeah, it's all divine blessings, I would say, and I kind of surrender all these things to in the feet of divine. I did my work, I did my job, but what made it happen is the consciousness itself. So
can I ask a question, Balu?
Yes.
So in this entire process, what was the biggest learning for you? Was it that you have to keep trying, that you have to keep faith in your own self? What was it?
Yeah, great question. So it's the belief, just the belief. So it's a belief that this disease is not you. You're way beyond that. So when the reason why we actually are kind of stuck in the cycle is because we don't not know our potential. The moment we believe that we are far beyond this physical body, and we kind of realize that we have enormous amount of potential and power, at that moment, you're liberated. There's no disease. The disease ceases to exist. And Dr. Sean kind of probably told me like this million times, and it's kind of embedded into my brain. So now I can kind of handle anything in my life. There's nothing that will stop me from not thinking about this feeling. So this realization that this is not you, the disease is not you, you're far beyond that, kind of dissolves the disease. That's the biggest learn.
And you can make it happen. You can make anything happen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is like, he used to give me this analogy of Hanuman. So we are all like, Hanuman has this enormous ability, but he doesn't realize his real powers, right? Until somebody tells him that, oh, you are this person, you are this great person, right? So we are all like Hanumans. We are like, we are in that consciousness level. We need to kind of, as Hanuman kind of, evolved, we need to also evolve into this mindset where we have this enormous potential. We need to believe that we have this enormous potential, and we will definitely go there.
Yeah. We needed Dr. Shan to tell us, you are Hanuman, right?
That's exactly.
Go.
Let me go into some of the questions. I kind of scribbled. I had my scribble pad. I kind of scribbled a bunch of my questions, not in a specific order, but I'll try to be as cohesive as possible in this conversation. So I have split this conversation into 4 different topics. I wanted to first talk about the body-mind connection, and some of the questions I kind of kept asking Dr. Shan about this. And I also have another topic about healing techniques, some of the specific things that Dr. Shan is very usually he uses these are some of these standard techniques. So I want to spend some time on that. And then I want to talk about consciousness and divinity, because that is something that we need to understand a little bit better before we join into the healing journey. And then I also want to talk about karma, habits, and some of the ways we can overcome those habits. So I'll start with the first topic, the body-mind connection. So I want to start with a very fundamental question, Dr. Shan, right? This is something that everyone should be aware of before getting into the role of the mind and thoughts in the healing journey. So what are thoughts? Like, do we actually create them, or do they just happen?
Thoughts are our life. There is no thought, the whole universe do not exist. We build this universe through our thoughts. We see, what is a thought? You think about it. So what you see outside is a seeing, it's only a video image. So as I told you, I used to give this example of, what you see is not you, that you created yourself. What you created yourself is the world, So for some people, like a frog in a well, this is my world. I grew up in a village, very small, isolated by forest, thick forest. People did not go to, this is my maternal, grandparents' village. So people did not go to town. Some of them don't know what town is. They believe their world is this village. So they don't know what is the world, what is the universe or anything. But they created that world around them. So thoughts are just what we believe. So if you start observing, do you create thoughts or do the thoughts come by themselves? So if you watch your thoughts, they do not exist. If you start watching, they get observed. But you are the creator, because why do you want thoughts? Because you want to live this life. So it is not random. Whatever we programmed, that only comes. Whatever we saw through the senses, whatever we observed through the senses, as video image through your eyes, as audio image through your ears, or smell through your nose, tongue, taste, and the skin. These are the 5 thoughts. There is nothing else. These are the 5 imprints that happen within our body. Whatever recorded by our ancestors, they can still stay there. But if you're in a meditative state, You don't even have to go to your ancestors' thoughts, your thoughts, whatever you have done. Normally people will have thoughts that after they getting maturity, those thoughts that come, but if you start to observe, you will see the present thought. The present thought is that you can be in the aga, this is called the agami karma. That which you are doing now, there is a thought, and that's the now thought, and there is no duality there. You see, you can talk and become that. So if you don't talk, you won't know what it is. So the whole thought process is this life exists because of thoughts. If thoughts stop, this life do not exist. There's nothing called life. All these things that we are imagining, we are only these thoughts only manifest. Whatever we are doing, whether it's a disease or a problem, it could be a finance problem, it's a relationship problem, all are thoughts that we created, right, in ourselves. And one thought starts to work, and before that you will put another thought. But you're thinking that this thought will work. Suppose you say 10 years ago you were thinking bad about your wife. Okay, because your wife hurt you so much, feeling, something should happen. That's your thought. That thoughts start to work. And now you realize that, no, that's wrong. My wife is also a consciousness. She is part of this. I want to change this. But now you're putting this thought. It's not very intensive. If it's not very intensive, those thoughts start to manifest. And then you think that you probably forgotten those thoughts 10 years back. Now you think, I'm thinking good of my wife. Why this happened to her? Okay. So this is how thought works. Thought takes time. Every thought takes its own time. Not necessarily every thought will manifest. When it gets matured, it will manifest. So whatever we are suffering is not a current thought. It's a past thought out of which we are suffering now, and we can recreate our future. Only thought exists in this world. Thought only is doing everything. There is nothing, no other science there. Even in a modern science, it's only thought, it's working.
I want to ask a follow-up question to this explanation that you gave us. So I think in my initial days of the healing journey, I used to ask this question to you very frequently, right? I had asked you, like, why shouldn't I be worried about my health situation? Like, this is like a very critical scenario, and you're asking me to not worry about it. And your answer was, you either think that you'll get better or do not think at all, right? Don't think anything. Don't think anything in a negative sense, right? I think the way you are explaining is that because we created a problem, like, for example, the wife example that you just gave, you created this future for you based on the thought that you had 10 years ago. So the logic that if you use the same logic for the healing purposes, right, that if we can create the negativity, we can also create the positivity. I think your explanation was, the same logic that you can actually, with the same logic, you can actually also create a new future for yourself with healing and abundance, whatever you need. So, but it is very hard to realize. So how can one realize that, thought can actually have an impact on the outcome, meaning it can heal you? How do we kind of make it believe or make it realize?
Well, actually, thought is only healing. All that we are doing are not healing process. All that we are doing is a temporary thing. You're doing a surgery, that's not healing. Surgery is not a healing process. Surgery is an escapism process. You don't know a solution, you remove a organ because you don't know how to solve the problem. That's called surgery, right? So they sell it. This is how they sold, sell this. So, okay, this is how we have to do this. This is the process. So we started to believe that this is a medical system. But it's an escapism. You don't know, you don't have a solution. So you do this. So the real healing happens if we change our code. It's like a 3D printing. In a 3D printing, you can program whatever you want. So in the future is like that, So we program, and that program will build the house for you. So it will manifest. So our thought process manifests into the physical body, manifests into action at some point, right? It will work. So we have to keep on changing our thought process to positive, and positive at certain point, you will get over this karma. Karmic doesn't affect you. Bigger things do not happen in your life, right? If it still happens, there is a purpose. You haven't realized. So that's where it takes. Yes.
There is also this belief, or I would say like disbelief that that how can thoughts cause a physical change? Meaning, okay, we can think about something and we act on it and we can make things happen, but things that are not under our control, how are we changing that by just thoughts? Meaning like physical manifestation of health, healing, diseases going away. How does that manifestation happens just by thoughts? It's very difficult for people to comprehend that the concept. How thoughts which are like imaginary concepts cause a physical reality through manifestation.
See, the whole nature of how things work is based on thought only. Just that we are not understanding, because we are looking at immediate things. From a modern thing, we got into greed. What is greed? Greed means we want everything very quickly. Shortcut method. Right? So we got into this process. So we are not believing, thought can do it. Thought does work, and it can do also shortcut. Thought can do, in a very short, very impactful way. But you should have a clean, intensive thought. It will manifest. How you can see is like outside, all can do this experiment and see. Normally thoughts, because we put a thought, they will not have big intensity, because normal thought frequency, high frequency thoughts, right? So they are very high frequency, they will not work. When you go to low frequency of your mind, when the mind is very calmer, so when you say low frequency, the number of thoughts are less, so those thought waves, that time you put, there is a huge gap, you'll get a gap, and you put a thought, those thoughts will manifest quickly. So that's why a thought after meditation, early morning, waking up 2:30, 3 o'clock, that time, if you put a thought, you're merging into this consciousness, and then you put a thought, those thoughts will manifest faster. Normally in high frequency, the thoughts will take time, but all thoughts will have its value. Whether in low frequency, you can have only good thoughts. In high frequency, you can have any other kind of thoughts that are not good for us. Okay, so the question is whether how it manifests into, like you do this and see that you bless your children, for example, every day. For a particular, take a example of your child having some problem, right? Every day is not eating lunch in the school. You keep a strong thought put a strong thought on the food, and morning, early morning, you bless them, do things. You see how it will manifest within few days. Few days, you keep on continuously putting the thought, automatically something happens. Your child will start to do something different, will start to eat. Then you know that your thought manifests. It can travel. A thought is similar to a wave that is traveling, how TV signals come, from the antenna or from the satellite, all these things, same way is thought, though it may not be measurable in the human with the human tools, but this is real, and it works same way. All this technology is showing that how our mind works. Technology is just a manifestation of the mind only. Whatever works, however technology works, that's how the nature has designed us, inside us. Same way like how technology works.
Yeah. I think this is a great analogy that you gave about how our thoughts can manifest. Like the experiment that we should probably try that definitely with our own family and children. So I want to so you mentioned that the thoughts can actually draw the physical reality into us, and it has worked, and it has worked for me, so it will work for everybody. I want to move on to a next topic of how we use these thoughts to actually, physically, how do we heal it? Like, I know that thoughts, our positive thinking that would work, but what are the tools and techniques that we have, right, that we can use? One of the techniques is meditation, right? And because we are actually going to the lower frequency, and when we at that lower frequency, our positive thoughts become stronger and stronger, and it will ultimately lead to manifestation. This is a simple logic. There's nothing complex here. But before we even go into the healing techniques itself, I want to understand the reason why we need healing is because we have a problem. So mostly, let's say that we have a lack of abundance, in terms of health, wealth. People have suffered diseases, etc., etc. So what is actually this disease? Like, why does it happen? And we mostly believe that the disease actually needs physical cures, but and then we are actually less focused on curing the underlying cause. We actually cure the symptom, but not necessarily the root cause. So you actually kept telling me this. You need to find the root cause. You need to find the root cause, right? So how do we know what caused it? What is the root cause of it? So we can actually cure it. So what is the first step towards identifying what the root cause is? First of all, what is a disease, and how do we know what caused?
So all disease are caused by the mind only. Whatever it is. Whether you call it a gene, it came from a gene, it's also a mind. Gene, you have a lot of things in your parents. They created with their mind only. And if it came through you picked that gene, right? You don't have to be a sugar patient because your parents have sugar. You can change that. If you pick that gene, you will manifest. So first thing that we have to understand, in our body, we have, the physical body. Then we have the astral body. In the Panchabhuta, we say, for astral body is the fifth state of matter, Akash. In our body is called the Panchabhuta, and then the magnetic body, the biomagnetic body, which is formed of the, which binds everything, which is used for processing, seeing, everything. So the whole manifestation happens in different regions. So until you change the blueprint. What's the blueprint? When you have a house, building a house, right? So you need a blueprint, right? You need a diagram of your house, right? So this is the bathroom, this is the puja room, this is living room. So then only you can build it. So the thought, your disease is manifested in the blueprint. What is the blueprint? The blueprint is the causal body, the biomagnetic body. Whatever you receive from outside, how you processed that idea and you manifested that blueprint only turned into physical manifestation in the physical body as disease. So right? So that's what. So the blueprint, so our thought manifests in 12, 13 areas, like in our, we think only DNA is the thing. In the modern science, they only know DNA, which means in the physical body, DNA exists. And we also agree in the ancient science that DNA also, physical body is also one of the memories. But there are other types of memories in our body, different kind of memory. Brain cell memory is separate. Your Panchayendriya memories are separate. Your sexual vital fluid memory is separate. You have a biomagnetic body. So when you clean up the whole core, your genetic center memory, the center is the Mooladhara, what you call, where all the information is stored. Unless you clean that up, this will manifest. So you keep, that's why these processes are needed. A meditative process, different kind of meditative process are needed for cleaning the 12 layers of our memory. So when you clean one by one, can we do physical body healing? Yes, you can do physical body healing, but instead of going for invasive healing, you can, like what you tried, some non-invasive things can be done on physical level, right? You can use Siddha, Ayurveda techniques, etc. Those all are absolutely fine. That will not solve the problem, actually. Stronger things like a little cold and other things, when you have a stronger problem, right? You have a cancer, you have a mental disorder, Parkinson's, all these things, you may need stronger dosage of things, that you need, where you need to clean the 12 memories in our body one by one as you clean. So the different techniques are needed for cleaning these 12 memories, but this is in the meantime. But if you understand, you capture the main person. It's like you're talking to the cabinet minister, the minister's PA, etc. But if you know the prime minister, the president, you can directly contact and you can solve your problem very easily. And since it takes time, people need all these things cleaning up. But this is a good process. You're learning in this process. So finally, you find the prime minister. He will solve everything. Surrender.
Yeah. That is very true. I mean, I think the kind of thinking this aloud in my mind here, right? So the people actually lose interest in this energy healing techniques because they want instant gratification. Oh, I did this for like 6 months and then I'm looking for results. It's not working out, right? I think one thing that I learned in my healing journey is consistency. So even though I did not get the expected results like right away, I saw improvements, and we should not drop whatever we are doing because it is not completely going away, right? That is something that we should continue, as you said, the non-invasive ways of treating things until we reach the perfection with the energy healing, because the energy healing is the fundamental thing. That's as you said, the blueprint. If the blueprint does not fix, this keeps coming up. So if you are just if the modern medicines just take care of the physical aspect of the disease, not necessarily the blueprint. They don't even believe that there exists a blueprint called the energy and your astral body, etc., etc. So I want to deviate a little bit from this topic and I think focus more on the actual healing modalities itself. And I think you mentioned a lot of things that we use, like for example, based on the criticality of the disease itself, we have to choose different modalities. How do we decide that? Is it based on the root cause that actually caused the disease that we correspondingly fix it? So I think you in my case, actually, you said, I think the first thing, if I remember, like 3 years back, you asked me to do the midbrain meditation. So that is something that we did every afternoon, if you remember. And I think every evening around 3:30 p.m. And that actually helped me calm down a little bit. I could feel a lot of intense energy in my head chakra, and I don't know how you chose that, is it based on knowing the patient's history and root cause? You're kind of deciding those modalities, or is it just like a standard pill for pretty much every disease type?
Well, there is certain things you can do for everyone little differently. For example, the brain thing that you're doing gives a lot of energy. Okay. If you have chronic problems, you always need energy in you, because otherwise somebody will reprogram you. If your energy is down, your willpower is down. When you become weak, other people's thought will manifest. People around you, surrounding you, will be always giving negative things to you, and you will start to process that. So first thing I want people to understand is, do not process, and therefore you need meditations, and therefore you keep your high energy levels. Depending on body type and what your need is, things can vary. A person to person, somebody can feel heavy with these things, and they are very, some body types can have heaviness, right? But this, for simple problems, you can use all these techniques differently. But when it's chronic problems, you have to use many techniques simultaneously. Okay, so from morning to evening, like how we had a protocol, this time you do this, because you have to keep your energy level high so that some other thoughts do not manifest during this healing process. Healing will take place by itself, not necessarily I have to do something or something, but if you keep your energy level, the thoughts clean, then those things will happen. Even though we are giving other herbs and other things, making changes, but main thing that changes you will be your thought. That is the most important thing.
Got it. So the energy levels, you mentioned that we need to be always in the higher energy levels, and I think that's kind of etched in my mind also, that I always, whenever I feel like a little bit of negative thought and I can sense that my energy levels are going down, I kind of stop there. And somehow I get conscious, some awareness, and then I stop it. But a lot of people, especially the initial phases of their healing, they cannot be kind of completely aware of that fact. A lot of people kind of go deeper into the kind of get sucked into the negative feeling, and the energy level goes down. So what are the few things that you would suggest for the newcomers, as to what techniques can they follow to keep those, could not get sucked into those negative thoughts and keep their energy levels high?
Yes, say suppose you decided not to drink tea this week, and then one day you wanted to just try. So you just add some drink, okay, so tea one day, one of the days, your mind was. So the moment you do that, you should know that you're drinking it because your mind is weak. So therefore your energy levels are low. So you start to do the same techniques by meditative process. Any meditations, for example, most of the meditations do increase the energy, but particularly what I focus will be on, the chakra meditations, upward. Okay, focusing on chakra and being in high level, because your all the whole systems need energy, so you're giving energy to the different things. And first of all, you have to fix your lifestyle disorder. When you're in chronic problem, you should not have lifestyle disorders that time. Your sleep should be proper, the right kind of food you eat, you need to eat the right kind of food. You have to do, if a pot has many holes, even if you fill more water, it really doesn't hold there, right? So first of all, filling the holes, so all the negative things that impacts, right? And modern, we have added so many things. Normally people have disease because of the modern lifestyle, so we need to fix that. And then, because this will drain your food, can drain your energy. If you eat a negative food, you have been meditating now, you ate a negative food, and that negative food will drive all the energies, and you won't know. Right? I have been a master for so many years in a system, and I realized that I had all problems. I was a Kundalini master when I was 19 years old. Okay. And I can, with my mind, I could stop a bus from far away, a train from far away. This is the power that I had when I was very young. Not that I don't do it now because of a reason of the karmic reason, but it's not an impossible thing to do that. And those are the things that made me strongly believe that the thought exists. So when I was a master, I had I was meditating, I was a deep meditator, I was putting all these practices, but then still I had problems. Okay. So meditations alone could not solve the problem. Then I realized that I have to fix my food, my lifestyle, other things. Just meditation can help. So those meditations helped me fix my lifestyle. You should use the energy to fix the lifestyle. So you just cannot blame that, oh, you asked me to meditate, I was meditating, it didn't work. It may not work for you if you're doing the same old thing that is causing problems. So that's why I'm talking about fixing lifestyle disorders in a 360-degree manner. Look at what things can impact you, different things that gives you problems, right? Look at all those factors and try to fix one by one, and then you will get a sweet spot. Nature will come. So if you take 10 steps, say, God will take one step. That's the concept, So if you're doing 360 degree, you're coming, there will be a point where you get an answer. So this is the thing. And you don't have to rely on anybody.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Absolutely. Right? I think food actually plays a very major part. I think, as you said, the regular meditations keep your energy levels high, and it'll I think whenever we feel low, the energy levels are actually low. That is when I have noticed a lot of times we kind of get sucked into the negative thoughts. It's the other way around. So we have to keep the energy levels high to not go into this negative thoughts. And meditation is definitely a great practice for that. And then food, as you said, I mean, I have seen in my own journey that the more I became choosy in terms of what I need to eat, and how that specific food kind of impacts my energy levels. So that level of consciousness and awareness kind of helped me a lot in terms of in terms of expediting the healing. So I would say, right. So when I say choosy, what do you call the keto diet with all meat and all sorts of juicing and full low carb, those kind of things. It is something that based on your body type, what works for you and what doesn't work for you, kind of analysis of it. I think Dr. Shan is really good in kind of assessing your body type and also telling you kind of based on your body type what to eat and what not to eat. So that definitely helped me a lot in terms of the journey. So I think you talked about some of the foundational things that we should focus on in terms of meditation and food. Before I move on to the next, I have one final question on the healing techniques and how this would work, right? People think that the mind-based healing or the thought-based healing, energy-based healing, and all those things or lead to miracles, meaning, oh, this is all like a voodoo stuff that will cause an effect just like that, like randomly it would happen. But it is actually a process. So a lot of people don't realize that this is actually like a step-by-step process, and the healing is not like on one fine day all of a sudden it happened. It's not like that. So I think it is also difficult for people to understand that it's not going to be instant. Also, it's very difficult to believe that it is kind of coming up with solutions, not necessarily mental solutions, but also random people showing up in your life, offering you some things, and you're finding a doctor that would be solving your problem that you have been fighting for 3 years in a day. So things of that nature. So how does that happen? Like, how do one believe that it's not just about your miraculous healing randomly happening, but also it pulls in the solutions that you need through people, to ideas and things like that.
So basically, the manifestation of a disease itself happens for a reason only for you. So even though it is your own thought process and you didn't know that time, now you know. But when it happens for a reason. This will open up the pathway, So the natures, the divinity, the providence of nature, the compassionate nature wants us to realize the truth. So it will design our life accordingly. So whatever comes to us is actually, that's where we make transformations. Otherwise, you would not come here. You will not take this path. Right? If you got a solution, why would you come here? So, so that's the thing. People, when you really need, they are looking for truth, they only come here. Come here means I'm talking about only holistic, not necessarily with me, right? So you started to believe in that, and therefore you get a solution, So once, I can say that, there is, if you strongly believe in a process, not just one step, right? One step, never, see, when it happens is when we did everything, and as if we did everything, God, I did everything, what else is left? As if everything is gone, right? That is the time you'll have an answer. People cannot hold till that time. That's the problem. Because we become a non-believer. Because see, you have to believe. Who you're believing is not in the faith of somebody like me or somebody else. It's not a belief. It's a believer of the consciousness inside you. That's our true father or mother, the parent who's doing everything for us. Continuously, supplying everything. Understanding that true nature and surrendering to that, you will take care, I will believe in you, you will give the solution. It will open up. Right?
Yep.
So that is a very important point. Right? So till that moment, you should stop, you should wait, and you will see the result. And that's what you did.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right? When you did everything, and what else is there? What else can I do? This is then, give me. That is when it happens.
Yes, absolutely. I think I can speak for it. I think at a point when there was nothing left, I know I was healed. I could feel it. I was, even before the scans, I could feel it. There's nothing left. I'm done. I'm healed. So that was the feeling that I think everybody can get it. It's not just it's not a miracle. It's a process. It's your work. It's your own work. It's your own dedication. It's your own conviction that you should do this 3 times a day, like, or whatever the stuff, the meditations or whatever that you're doing, and your lifestyle changes, etc., etc. So I think we kind of talked about consciousness here at this point. I think it's the right time we shift on to that deeper conversation about consciousness and divinity. So, I mean, I think when I talk to you a lot of times, when I speak to you a lot of times about consciousness, about meditation, about divinity, I feel a lot energetic. Just by talking about consciousness gives me this elevated emotions and inner strength and energy level. It's gonna boost up my energy level. How does it happen? Like, how does even these satsangs and speeches even bring our energy level so high? What is happening actually?
Well, that is what healing happens, only through listening. Because healing is an information. What you did was accumulating wrong information that manifested as a disease, and you need the right information to change the code. It's like a antivirus. You created a virus, and the antivirus is listening to the same opposite thing that has gone into you. And therefore, it is obvious that this will heal you. As you start to listen, oh, okay, this is what I probably did, and you can relate to that. And therefore, this feels soothing. And you start to manifest the thought, because you need this thought to change yourself from the negativity that you already accumulated, right? It doesn't matter how long it is, but as you deeply observe this thought, and these thoughts start to manifest. So that's why listening is important.
I actually wanted to go into the divine a little bit more. So you often state that we are divine, that the observer and the observed are the same. Like when we look at the thoughts and we realize that we are not thoughts, we are the thoughtlessness, etc., right? So is it a belief or a feeling or a realization? Like how can one understand this concept? It's like it's too deep, and I think I want if you can explain it a little bit more, that might help, because this is actually one of the things that the more we are one with that divine feeling, the healing is kind of an expedited, in infinite form. So I want to, get your thoughts on that.
So, first of all, nature itself is healing only. Divinity itself is healing. Nature is already healing everyone only. Whatever we do. Because of our ego, we are closing that healing power, nature of divine. So our ego is that, oh, I will do this, these kind of things, I'll do this, I know this, I can Google and find out. There are all ego-based science applications. If you do this, these are the same thing. If you cut down this will go away, and this is the pipe that goes here. This knowledge I have, this is the knowledge. These all are, these are not real knowledge. Our sage scientists went into deeper level of downloading information from Vijnanamaya Kosha. So Vijnanamaya Kosha gives a different mechanism of the process in our body. As you start to download that information, it becomes much simpler. The solution is so huge and is the real permanent solution, right? So that is where we need to keep the awareness. As you start to, go deeper, that healing happens naturally from the Anandamaya Kosha, because that is penetrative inside us. Now we are believing that God is outside us, keeping God outside you. You have to search for God. You have to go to the church. You have to go to the temple, or you go to the puja room, for God. But instead of keeping God outside, if we keep the God alive within you, is God only has manifested. God only is doing everything. And with this awareness, the truth, it knows what to do for you. You don't have to do any action for healing. So you don't have to do a process. You just want to eliminate the unwanted. That's what we need. Right? Already the divine is healing inside us. Every day it's cleaning up you. It should not be blockage for that divinity.
Yeah. If there's one technique or a trick that you would say, and of course, I'm meditating every day. I'm actually on a good diet that fits my thing, and then I'm also trying to be self-aware and all those things. But then I also sometimes need some kind of easy technique to keep me aligned with the divine. So that consciousness is always with me, or the divinity is with me. So how do we keep reminding ourselves that is what is the truth?
See, you have to have a bigger concept. Understanding a bigger concept, not normally spoken. This body, you want to keep this body alive. If you don't want to die, I'm not talking about attaining mukti or something like that. Everybody, it says mukti, one day you will get mukti. You will die, you will get mukti, like that. I'm talking about non-dying, deathlessness. When you explore on this concept of deathlessness, this body doesn't have, I don't want to die. What happens? Think and see. I don't want to die, that means, is that possible? The question is possible. Is that possible? If you don't want to die, is that possible? Right? Because we see everybody die. Because we see everybody die, we started to believe in it. But human has a wonderful thing that no other beings have. We can change, reprogram that. Don't believe that you're dying. So if you capture into an higher concept that I'm not going to die, I can live, then you will do things, all the things will be aligned towards that. So, okay, if I have to do that, what is the process right now, what I have to do? What is the awareness that I should have? I'm not going to die. This is the awareness. It's a continuous awareness is there. When you wake up early morning, first thing, see who you are. See what are you thinking, what your thoughts are, what is it thinking? Is that real? Is that you? So you start to explore every day when you wake up. See, early morning wake up is very important. Early morning, if you wake up, you can put your mind there, and you can remove your mind. You can put your mind and remove your mind. So this kind of awareness, okay, I am going to stay in this awareness, whatever happens, I'll be in this awareness. There is an awareness. Even when you're living, you can keep that awareness. That awareness is called the esoteric awareness. Unlike, so I have to drive a car. So what kind of awareness you need? There are 3 types of awareness you need. Driving a car, you can have a mind that is listening to a song, right? But still you can drive. You can drive with awareness, even though you're listening to a song, but your awareness could be in the driving. The background goes. Now instead of that, because you could drive, you could still think or listen or talk to somebody and still drive. Anyways, if you're driving alone, your mind will think. If you're not listening to a song, your mind will be thinking something, but still you will be driving. It's not that you're 100% driving in the mind. So that means always there are duality, 2 things are there. So if you can drive, and then you can keep the mind in consciousness. Because mind is what is thinking. And if you can keep in awareness, then will you go into accident? Think about it. You're thinking, anyways you're thinking, right? And you're not thinking. You're being in that empty space. And you can drive. I'm giving an example of driving. I'm not suggesting without practice you do that. Right? You can do that once you practice in normal. When I'm saying driving the life. Driving in your life. Where you're doing has nothing to do with the background noise. The background noise will keep coming no matter what you do. The doing will happen. No matter, you cannot stop it. You will be cooking, you will be eating, you will do everything. Whether you think or not, this will happen. But that background noise, instead of thinking, you keep in that awareness. And as you start to make that an habit, it just meditates by itself. Life becomes a meditation instead of separately you meditating, allocating a time, and you will not leave the God within you. If you leave the God outside, then you have to chase, run after the God. So that's the secret.
Very, very powerful. That's very powerful and so deep. And I think that is something that we are all trying to be at that position where that we are kind of disassociating from our thoughts and treating it as a noise and be aware of the consciousness. So I want to move away from this topic and into a more important topic. A lot of questions are around this topic, and it's a very favorite topic of a lot of seekers. Karma. So karma, habits, and some of the ways to overcome that. So you have told many times this, and I think I had a lot of questions around this. And then your explanation is that we should not associate with our karma, and the more we associate with it, the more we feel the pain. Again, the same the thought related thing that you just mentioned applies to karma also, because karma is also imprints that is inside our in our genetic center, etc., etc. So, but some of the philosophy says that the karma is meant to happen and we cannot change it. Like it says that maybe we can minimize the impact by prayers and meditation, but cannot be changed. But when you say that we are not it, it feels like a little bit contradicting. Can you explain that when you mean we are not our karma, we have to disassociate, what exactly it means?
If you look at how animals have the karma, it's a program. Karma means programming. You have the audio, video, visual, smell, taste, everything that is, goes into, the thought, and then the thought gets into manifestation. So every animal is programmed, pre-programmed. Whereas humans have 3 degrees of freedom. You have a degree of freedom to use the physical body, whatever way we want. The mind, whatever way we have our own programming language, you can do that. And then the consumerism. Right? Consumerism is you can wear this kind of dress, jute based or some other polyester, whatever you want, you can wear. It's a process. Whether it's good or not, that's your choice. Same way thinking, you can think something that animals cannot think. You may think of changing the climate or understanding the body, how the chakras work. Animals don't care about it. So humans have this nature to program, reprogram. We have the capability to reprogram. Okay. And that is the important part of a human being. So we have the capability, to change the code ourselves. Once you know all these techniques, we are only using for that. All the meditation techniques, etc., are just for reprogramming ourselves. Only the program, finally the thought only should change. See, you may be meditating and doing other things, but if you don't do the introspective thought, reprogramming, then you still will manifest the other thoughts only. You can be a good meditator, but you did not change your thought process. You'll be doing all bad things in life. Okay.
So I just have one follow-up question. I think this will be probably the final question of this this whole discussion, and then we'll go to the other user questions here. If we are we are saying that we are consciousness itself, we are divine, etc., etc. So if we are consciousness itself, why did we even get karma? Right? And is it because we forgot who we are, and then why did we even forget this in the first place if we are consciousness?
Yeah, because that's the freedom. Because of the degrees of freedom we got, we can choose that degree of freedom in the right way. So only humans have these kind of things. So there's no need for actually changing the karma itself, because it's not possible. People say, you're saying, already karma is pre-programmed, right?
Yeah.
Your previous question. So they don't have to change that karma because it's impossible. You can only create new things for the future. So create your future instead of changing the past. Because past, if you look at what do you do, so after, when your maturity around 13 years, 14 years, your physical maturity, after that you will have your karma. And if you need so many years, how many years you need? Now you are 40, 43, 45, you need to another 30 years for changing all the, 45 years, whatever you accumulated, you need so many days to change, which is impossible.
Right.
Most of the things that we did in the past is wrong only. If you look at, then you look at your parents, grandparents, and then you go back in the animals, all those karmas are accumulated. You will sit down and then eliminate, oh, okay, this is a karma, and this is how we can change that. That's what I told you. We can reprogram it. So karma by itself, if you catch on to the hold on to what you did in the past, then you claim that I did that. You are not responsible for your past. You're responsible for today, not your past. Just leave the karma alone to the past. Don't worry about what you've done in the past because you were not realized. Now you realize. Now make the good karma. That's it. And don't allow the meditative state. Why it's important is keeping in a meditative state, past karma will not come. So if you fix your zone into low frequency, below say 10 cycles per second, which is not very possible in normal life, but at least below 20 cycles per second, you can have a peaceful life with less karma. But as you start to meditate deeper, you can keep your mind at low frequency. That's called a safe zone. If you keep that mind in that safe zone, no past karma will come and attack you. Then you only the present agami karma will come and you can keep changing that, whatever you need.
So basically our karma gets buried, like the actual thing that is supposed to happen get buried by our good things that we do. And
yes, that's all. Don't claim for whatever you did. Something happened, a few years back and you know that you did wrong. It's okay. You did it, fine. But you are trying to, like how you going to church and doing things again, mistake again and again, and Jesus will not save you. Definitely. If you know and do that, you'll never get. He's not a savior. But if you make the changes, of course, if you really make the changes and you want to live that world, the whole consciousness will help you,
All right, I think we're coming to the end of the session. I just want to take a quick look at some of the questions on the chat here, Dr. Shan. So one of the first question that from Senthil is any Vedic astrology aspect that can be looked into in finding the cause and resolving the disease? What's your thought process?
See, that's what I told you. This is all Vedic astrological things do manifest their process. Whatever we do, whatever we lived, when we are born in a particular angle, when the thing manifested, the planets manifested, the constellations manifested, we will have a whole kind of character, personality because of that, right? But as I told you, all the planets are appointments from consciousness. They are in the management system. You become this manager for controlling disease. You are manager for controlling the property. Like that, we make different managers, but finally, instead of going to all these things, finally go to the main manager, the CEO, or the owner, or the president, and ask, okay, that's the consciousness. The consciousness brings all this together. Even the Panchabhutas, you get problem from Panchabhutas, right? Panchabhuta can hit you in some way. You can get a cyclone, right? You can drink a cup of water, you can have problems, or a fire inside can cause a problem. So Panchabhutas can do something to you, as well as the planets can do something to you, etc. But if you strongly hold on to the topmost person, they all become, less powerful. So that's where you need to. But in the meantime, you can do. I'm not saying I'm denying on that, because you do something else otherwise.
Yeah.
You keep doing that, but trying, because immediately you're not going to hold that. You need some training to hold that. If you're able to, there are some people who can hold to that. But till then, you can do all the other things, food, make changes, everything. But finally, you have to hold on to that main person.
It's
They can
one
appreciate.
step. It's one step in the multi-step process that we can follow. Dr. Shan, there's another question here. So I think Prashant is asking, any technique to distract mind not to think about suffering that your body is currently experiencing? I think you mentioned about this. I think you answered about keeping your energy levels high and not kind of get sucked into the problem itself. I think the meditation would kind of keep your energy level throughout the day. Is that the right answer for this?
See, each person may need a different technique, right? But definitely, overall, if you do all the meditative techniques, some asanas, depending on whether you have a pain in a particular body or some kind of a massaging, all those things, you can keep on doing this. As I told you, n number of these are techniques. See, all these techniques are given by great sage scientists. They all realized people. Each one gave a technique. Somebody found oil bathing. Somebody found a diagnostic tool on urine. All these are given by sage scientists who meditated on God. So whatever we are doing, whatever I am teaching here, is out of all the sage scientists and my own experience out of that, following that. So when you combine and do these things, you get the blessings from all these sage scientists at different times. They all did with a intention, good intention. They all are non-invasive techniques. They're good for you. If you put a bunch of things together, it will work powerfully. It's a 360 degree, right? And it is similar to, I usually tell, you have an emperor who is very cruel, and that cruel person, the kings around, there are 18 kings. 2-3 kings plan and attack him, they could not. But one day, all the 18 kings, joined together, and they are able to, beat this cruel king. Same thing. If you do many things simultaneously, there will be an effect. All conscious things. I'm not talking about some other things that you're doing. I'm talking about all holistic things that are given by our sage scientists. If you simultaneously do, some sweet spot occurs there, and it will work very powerfully. Okay, this is for people in your living. But as you evolve, you hold on to that center point. That's all, and it will do the things. But till then, we are in different level. Everybody is in different level. So accordingly, you can do this, apply this. Okay.
The next question is from Senthil Kumar. I think this is a very interesting question. So we keep getting negative thoughts. Some of these thoughts are very dominating, right? And because we are also meditators, we are sometimes scared that, okay, what if this negative thought actually manifests? Okay, I'm still in the process of transformation, but I keep getting these negative thoughts, and I'm worried that it might manifest. So what is your answer for that?
So my dad used to have these kind of thoughts. I mean, young age, he says, like, some thoughts will come negative and go, something will fall, something will happen, like this. So, but he is also very powerful meditator. Very powerful meditator. Then I used to pick up those thoughts. Then I thought, okay, this was because my dad told that. From that day onwards, I started to pick up this. Some negative thoughts start to come. All these thoughts come because we don't know who we are. At a certain point, if you understand, strongly what these thoughts are, who we are, then, it's you who are playing the role. Your ego only comes up and tells, this is a negative thought. So it takes a little bit of process to clean up that. So you start to observe your thought, right? And you should give room for that. You should have longer. That's why the silence retreats help. In the silence retreat, you give time to see, okay, what is that negative thought? It comes. Don't be scared of negative thoughts. Be negative also. Okay. Say, okay, this is negative thought. See, whenever you say you stop, then only it will come. It's like you don't think about monkey when you're drinking your pill, the monkey will come, right?
Yeah.
Same way, if you think that, okay, when I do this negative thought comes, okay, allow the negative thought, okay, let it go. So don't associate with your negative thoughts. You are not the thoughts. Let it come, but don't disregard those negative thoughts. The moment you put more weight on the negative thoughts, it will start to manifest. Like how you have some, people come to your house and, they want to stay in your house. 2 days, if you don't do good food and all, they will run away. But if you good food, give everything to them, they start coming and manifesting, right? Take over. They like you. Same way, negative thoughts, they will manifest if you give importance to that.
Yes,
I
think it's very beautifully said. Beautifully said, actually. I think the more we act on it, the more we entertain it, it gets more powerful and it'll stay and manifest. So we just have to observe it and ignore it. That's it. That's your answer, Siddha.
Right.
Does thought generate impact waves into consciousness and come back in the same way how we think? Positive thoughts from whole family, will it have more positive impact?
Exactly. Absolutely. Every thought will have its actions. Their thoughts come from consciousness only. But here we have a local consciousness. We have our own genetic center where our thoughts come. But this is also a consciousness center only. Okay, thoughts arise from there only. But our ego, because of our ego only, we are developing the thought. If you allow natural thought, these natural thoughts are good only. If you see naturally, thoughts are pure only. But because of whatever we manifested in the beginning, those thoughts start to accumulate, and now you start to develop on those thought. You imagine and build up on that, and that's the ego, and it will do a lot of damage. But as you start to as I told you, you need different techniques, different times. Sometimes when your mind is very calm, you have control over your thought, put all positive thoughts and do new things. But sometimes, because this is the nature of mind, sometimes it's beyond your control, negative thoughts come. Then disregard that. Don't try to focus. Deviate yourself. Doing something positive, other things. Doing actions positive. If your thoughts are negative, do actions that are positive. For example, you can go to a temple and sit down. That's where you need to use this technique. Or a satsang, you go to a satsang, sit down there. Even though your thoughts are bad, outside you're doing something positive, and later on, it's good, you get diversions.
I think it's also a way to find out the root cause, right? Say, for example, if I'm getting a negative thought related to, I'm just making this up, so don't get me wrong here. So let's say I feel like I'm hurting somebody who's on the street, like a homeless guy, right? Probably this thought is coming up because of my imprint in the past, that I probably was really doing something bad to a homeless guy. And probably if we can override that with a good deed, that thought probably could go away. Meaning, we use the same negative thought to find the root cause.
Right. Yeah, so that's what the action is.
Yes.
So your thought is bad, but you do good action.
Right.
Action becomes a imprint now. Action is more powerful. Okay.
So you mentioned about the food. So eating right and the things that would work better for your body. Does it mean vegetarian food?
Well, let us see conscious food. So whenever you have a karmic problem, you have to choose a non-karmic food. So non-karmic food means, so you just go by this thing, whether instead of asking vegetarian, non-vegetarian, vegan, ask whether in order to achieve what I have to, right? I want to achieve some health benefit. Do I have to harm something to get that benefit? Right? Or can I stay during this period, should I stay very compassionate so that you become the quality of God, that God manifests in you. So look at what it is, So if you're harming the self or others, other things, environment or other animals, in the present or in the future, for your own benefit, right? So that means you are not compassionate enough, right? You haven't still become very compassionate to see the wholeness of the consciousness. Okay. So the whole idea is that there's always a choice. You can be this or that, But, even in the Siddha Ayurveda technique, there's no limitation for, eating some of the foods they have mentioned in non-vegetarian also, in the Vata, Pitta, Kapha type of body types and everything. But the higher consciousness, if you really want a healing, not just by eating this kind of food, you have to get over into non-karmic food, including some dairy and other things, because today the process what we do in the modern life, they become very high karmic. Everything will add karma to you. If a food will add more karma to you today, the way it is processed. Even a normal food is doing that. So think about something, even a normal industrial processed food is damaging our body with a karma. So how karma can come? Even in a food, you go to a restaurant and eating, somebody underpaid that, the person who is cooking is like cursing, and that food comes to you. Will you be affected? Yes, indeed you will be affected. That karmic thing comes to you also. So even an ordinary industrial food can cause problems. Then think about karmic, that you heard something, all that information will come to you. So there is nothing, because we don't see immediate things. Oh, I'm eating for so many days, nothing happened to me, like this kind you can talk. Because you are looking at immediate things. Karma manifests in different way. Don't look at outside and see karma. People are, oh, he's doing, he's feeling okay, he's eating this for so many days. Not from outside. It's in the mind, whether they are peaceful. Their inside what's happening is unknown. So don't go by what you see outside. We don't know. By seeing outside a person, we won't know how deep they are in either world.
Great. I think, thank you, Dr. Shan. This is a really great session. I think we need to have more of this. I want to thank Dr. Shan, Dr. Gupta ji for kind of coordinating this amazing session. And it is not just, I think I wanted to have this, to share my own experiences and ask the same kind of questions I asked Dr. Shan, so everybody can benefit. But at the same time, I also learned a lot of new things as part of this Q&A session. So thank you personally for kind of, giving me this opportunity and having this session with me. So I'll pass it on to Dr. Sri Gupta for any announcements. Thank you, everyone.
So thank you for this excellent session. It is quite a bit of learning for me as well. But I want to remind the audience here that there is going to be a retreat. The retreat will be this coming weekend in Virginia, and Virginia is a very big state. So this is near Dulles Airport. I think in the Fairfax County, right, Dr. Shah? It's the Fairfax County. Two-day retreat.
Right.
It's a very healing retreat.
Is here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so near Washington, D.C. So that's where it is. And it's a very healing retreat. So in the 2 days, your body, Dr. Shan will sort of scan your body, figure out what is going on in your body in terms of vata, pitta, kapha, etc. What is the prakriti? What are the disorders in the body? What are the right things for you to do, etc., etc. You'll have a very good session there.
The price structure right now is $7.89, and if you become a member, you can attend 4 to 5 of this kind, including the this December event, and you pay only $1,500 for the whole process. So which means you're paying $300 upfront and $99 every month. So that way you can attend 4 to 5 retreats.
So again, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.